without gloating, you've been another South Island Championship winning award.
Yes, very lucky. Went down last week to Southland Boys High School in Invercargill and awarded their champion TNAG team the National Grand Champions of TNAG.
So that's the three for the South Island, he says.
Yes,
sort of,
yes, no, South Island absolutely cleaned up this year. And what was really nice is we divide the South Island into 3 regions, and there was 1 for each region. So
excellent. More serious subject though, technology, and that's one of your areas that you're very strong on.
yeah, so it's sort of one of those sort of pillars that we want to base our sort of going forward strategy around, and that's how we connect to the technology sector. So as we know with nutrient management, with water management, with everything that's going on these days, technology is going to play a much bigger part on how we run our farms, etc. So the big thing that we're trying to do is reach out to industry saying that, look, you know, if you've got innovation that you want to bring to market, we've got a target audience or target group that can validate or pilot or test new product. Our guys like shiny new toys.
Yeah.
It's the right demographic in terms of the early adopter, and that validation process can be sped up a lot more efficiently by utilising young farmers.
I mean, I have trouble setting up my microscope, but you know, it's the age thing, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely, and you know, it's a real benefit for our members to be able to sort of see what's coming up ahead, and actually apply these new technologies to industry.
So really, it's a test bed.
It really is. It's as simple as that. If you want something that you know, warts and all, the feedback you get is 100%. So yeah, it is a test bed.
So how does it work? I mean, if I've suddenly come up with this idea that because of compliance that I can come up with a computer program.
Yeah, well, we're working with a couple of organisations, the main one being an organisation out of Palmerston North called BCC, Building Clever Companies. And they're an accelerator program, so they're looking at all the inventors and entrepreneurs out there and trying to sort of bring those into a point where they select, say, 6 or 8 a year and bring in seed investors, bring in consultants to help them actually build a business out of it. And then we're part of that program in terms of supporting that and actually trying to apply it.
So we should get our Mrs. Marketing involved with that, because marketing of anything new is very, very important as well.
Sure, and often with people that are gifted in terms of invention or those sorts of innovation, often lack the skills and actually how do you bring a product to market.
Compliance, I mentioned compliance. I mean, that is making this world so incredibly technical with the restrictions on irrigation usage and... Oof.
Yeah, but if you look at the stuff that's coming out of various programs like LIC's programs, and there's a whole raft, Farm IQ, for example, that actually have stuff that farmers can work with, young or old, that actually help with actually capturing the data of what's going on farm. You know, what sort of water is required or nutrient or whatever it might be. There's increasingly less and less excuse to say I don't know how much I need or how much is going on farm in terms of those compliance issues.
Terry, I've got to get out of my head when I say young farmers. There must be another word that I could use. It should be young farming or something, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and that is an issue for us to get around. You know, New Zealand Young Farmers has been around since 1932 and it's a historic institution. But as a name, yes, we're way beyond just hands-on farming. You know, you think of the whole primary industry being everything from agribusiness, banking, veterinary, forestry, seafood, marketing, science, engineering. It covers everything. In fact, if you went to university and picked any degree to do, perhaps with the exception of becoming a doctor, there is a really good career path, satisfying and rewarding career path in primary industry. So yes, we're not just talking about farming anymore.
I mean, that's seriously, I've got to get it out of my head because it's always young farmers, bang.
Yeah.
And that's a huge focus for you.
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time in schools actually working with both the schools and with students about sort of career paths and options. And you talk to most university students who are half to 2/3 of the way through their degree, they don't actually know where they're going to end up working. They know what degree they're doing, but where do they end up? What's their trajectory in terms of career choice? So we're actually helping that by saying, well, look, you know, great, you're doing an engineering degree, that's brilliant. We need more engineers in this country. However, if you're into process engineering or those sorts of things, you know, you think of all the dairy companies, the freezing works, the infrastructure that rural New Zealand needs from roading so that milk tankers can go down the road properly. There is engineering jobs in our sector for Africa. But people don't go into engineering thinking, oh, I think I'll end up in primary industry. No, and marketing is probably even more important because we've got all this food that we produce, It needs to actually be value add, needs to be branded, needs to be New Zealand Inc. But how do we tell that story to overseas markets? We actually need the gifted marketers to come into primary industry. So that's the story we're telling.
I want to change the subject slightly. You're the head of the Canterbury A&P wine tasting and judging.
Yeah,
and
I'm
you've
very
opened the
fortunate.
doors.
Yes, so yeah, it's been around, this is the 13th year of the International Aromatic Wine Competition. I'm very lucky that I've been involved right from the start. So wine judging is one of my background things, as you know. So this year Aromatic is clearly a wine that smells and tastes of the fruit. So it has aromas that you'd associate with the fruit rather than the winemaking influence. So the Rieslings, the Sauvignon Blancs, the Pinot Gris, the Gewürztraminer, those sort of things make sense to people. Consumers are actually demanding a lot more softer style red wines. So less oak influence, less big tannic
that big
reds.
tannic, yeah.
And there's definitely a place for those and we love them.
Cabernet Sauvignons
Absolutely.
that just blow your head off.
But we're actually now opening the doors to wines that are less oaky, a bit more fruit driven. Rosé is a really classic example of that less complex red wine, and it is red wine rather than white wine. You drink it like white wine, but it's made like a red. So we're opening the doors to say, look, anything that's made in an aromatic style should be judged in this forum. So obviously within their categories. So yes, we're looking for all sorts of aromatic reds. We're looking at rosé. We're looking at aromatic sparkling wines. That's also new for us this year. So yeah, sparkling Sauvignon Blanc, sparkling Pinot Gris. There are plenty of those out in the marketplace. So yeah, makes it quite more
It's
a
an
lot more
amazing shop
comprehensive.
window too, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Canterbury A&P wine contest is pretty sought after. It's very, very prestigious.
Yeah, it is prestigious, and focusing on the varieties that Canterbury have done well in the past, certainly with Riesling, Pinot Noir, as we're now entering into, they're the things that really showcase the region.